Okay, we are back with the Inside the Block podcast, and I am here with Chad Walker, head honcho, I don't know, main guy of the warehouse block. Like, what is your title exactly?
We need a title. Maybe we'll do it on Facebook this time around. Let's put out what should my title be. But
Absolutely. CEO.
Parking lot sweeper and toilet plunger and just whatever.
Will you really go plunge toilets in the different properties?
I haven't as of years late. I've graduated, so no, I haven't plunged a toilet in quite a few years, but I do still have, Old Faithful nearby just in case I need them. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, always come prepared, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
So this is an incredibly special episode because we are celebrating 40 years of the warehouse block. And so tell us the history of the warehouse block. Okay. How did it come to be?
So the standard boilerplate version is that my father was a commercial electrician by trade, and he needed a place to park his electric business. And so he bought 333 North Ashland Avenue, which is at the corner of North Ashland and National.
Which is what?
And
what business is in there now?
Seasons Catering's in there, as well as Dynamic Productions.
Okay. So that was like the original spot.
That was the OG. That's
okay,
right.
Cool.
Then the properties on either side were run down pieces of junk buildings. So he bought those and fixed them up. Then the properties on either side of those were run down pieces of junk. So he bought those and fixed up. And it just kind of progressed throughout the years. And remind me, I will tell you a story about Seasons Catering at some point. So,
okay. I'll remind you.
Let me go ahead and tell. I'll tell it. And so speaking of job titles, I've always done snow removal. Help the guys do snow removal.
Yeah.
Never have driven a truck. They always put me on shovel patrol. And one particularly bad winter, we were shoveling snow, and we'd gone for about 2 days without a lick of sleep, and we're all tired and cold. And I looked up, and we had walkie-talkies because we're all out by ourselves. And I look up, and there's a marlin, this beautiful marlin in the sky. And I'm delirious. I'm seeing things, whatever. And it ended up being Mike Stoddard. I totally forgot that he's a world-class ice sculptor, and he had done a marlin and just pushed it out to the street. And so I'm walkie-talking going, is anybody else seeing marlins? Like, because I'm seeing a marlin, I think probably should go home. And of course they came over and they saw the marlin as well. And we had a laugh for 5 minutes and went back to work. So yeah. Thanks for that one, Mike.
So great.
Ridiculous.
I love it.
Yeah.
So he got Seasons first, and then the building, and then it just grew from there, right?
Yeah. And I think the next one in line was, I think it was 309 North Ashland, which was General Electric way back when.
Yeah.
And then when he got it, it was a couple of woodworker guys in there.
Yeah. Because what's really incredible about the history of this area is that it was Lexington's, premier industrial corridor for so long, especially in the early 20th century. We like to say that the warehouse block, this area built Lexington because of the brickyard that was here and all of the different woodworking and concrete and the things that were needed to like build the structures of Lexington at that time. And then of course its proximity to the C&O Railway. So, I mean, it's just a really special spot. The thing that always kills me is thinking about the fact that like this was considered outside the city limits for a very long time.
Yeah,
and
this is out in the movies. It's right.
I don't, but to me, I'm like, you're basically downtown. Like this is downtown Lexington. So,
and I didn't know most of the history until you went down the path of, the historic designation, which is really cool because we know parts and pieces of it. But then when you actually see it laid out of like, this is the history up until kind of time period zero, our portion of it's relatively small.
I know.
Time-wise,
It is.
And of course the impact on Lexington, it was, originally we had a lot of those same type of people, of contractors like drywall guys and HVAC and plumbers. And that was sort of the first iteration of the neighborhood, is just tradespeople.
Yeah.
Before it kind of continued on and did its thing and more stuff. But yeah.
But it also moved into, for a while there, especially like mid 20th century, when like everybody's got a car, it was a car spot.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like a lot of automotive, a lot of like, in my research, I haven't seen anybody who's like selling car, maybe some used car moments, but a lot of like fixing cars up type things. Yeah.
And that sort of continued when we first started sort of doing our thing. There was a lot of automotive based things as well. Repair shops, mostly not the most savory repair shops in the whole wide world.
Sure.
And, another horrible tale to tell is we used to lease to the police department where White Dress used to be and like where Rockwell's campaign headquarters are now. And across the street was where Blue Door and Void and those guys would eventually be. Well, there was a automotive place there that they fixed cars. It was basically a junkyard. But there was a dude that lived in the very back in a little camper that sold drugs. And so the police department, it was their undercover drug division, and they could sit up in their second story and look out and build a case against this guy. He had no idea that was their undercover lab. So, yeah, not the brightest dealer in the whole wide world.
But that building is really incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really unique for the area too, just with the windows itself. So the building that we're talking about, in case our listeners didn't catch it, is used to be for a long time White Dress Bridal.
Right.
And then now they have moved, and it's Raquel Carter's campaign headquarters. But it's hands down the most unique building for the warehouse block, just because of the windows itself. Like it doesn't have the major like garage doors, like warehouse style for that. So it's a kind of a neat, I don't know.
Cool
it's like, it's a really neat building.
We've kicked around the possibility of moving into that ourselves.
I really think you should.
Cool. It is really a neat spot. And, being that this is the 40th year, and Raquel will, win or lose, she'll be heading out in November. It kind of ties in because my father bought the property at 333 right next door. So maybe.
Yeah.
We definitely could use the upstairs. The downstairs, I'm not sure what we do with it. I'm thinking like a speakeasy or something like that.
Well, you built them a stage.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, you're just such a good landlord. Like back when White Dress was around, they needed a stage for the brides to try on their gowns and then to come out and like feel really special and all of that. And you're like, I'll just build you a stage.
Yeah. Well, that was Jill's idea too. It was an upside down wedding cake. Was kind of the way that the stage and we noticed at their old location that every time the brides would come out, they like nobody wanted to just go in the dressing room with the grandmas and stuff like that. They wanted to come out in front of the big mirror,
big reveal,
shoulders back. Yeah,
absolutely.
So we built them a platform to really do that, and they loved it. They thought it was cool.
Yeah.
There was questions. I think there was one of the code enforcement people wanted to know if we were putting in a baptismal pool, and we were not, but they wanted to make sure that wasn't going to happen.
But it's always an option later.
It's always an option, but you got to have
obviously
flotation devices and life saving equipment. Got to build a lifeguard stand, but we didn't want to get into that.
But if you moved your offices there, then it's like a built-in. I mean, you got the offices. You could do like a karaoke stage moment. I mean, the possibilities are endless.
When I used to play Santa Claus a lot, so we're thinking maybe like a slide off the second floor, and like they did in the Toy Store. Or, what's the movie?
Elf.
Oh gosh, no.
The Santa Claus.
Yeah.
I know my Christmas movies.
Shoot cannonball snowballs at people and the kids, but yeah.
So when your dad RT was starting to buy up properties, kind of slowly around here, like it really was. How long would you? And this would have been what, late 80? No, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
So mid 80s.
86, I guess.
86.
Yeah, because it's 2026. Yeah. So
86.
Yeah.
So then it was still sort of like, what was it like in the 90s to him? Does he ever talk about that?
Yeah. And I was down here a lot. It was a perfect place for the young version of me to like bounce around rooftops and skateboard and all this stuff.
I have a great story about you and Eppings, but I don't know if you want to say it on air.
Yeah.
But okay. So my favorite story. So if for anybody who doesn't know, I'm writing the National Register nomination for Eppings, which includes a ton of a lot of research on that building. And one of the times that you and I had met, and it took everything in my body to not put this actually in the nomination itself. Granted, it wasn't going to contribute to like its architectural integrity or whatever. But you had told me one time, and it always comes up whenever people ask, like, well, are the doors original? Meaning like the garage doors. And I was like, they're definitely original, because a good friend of mine, Chad Walker, when he was like in his 20s, would drive into them. Like back when Eppings was just like for those who don't know, Eppings, of course, was a very famous bottling company. And then it turned into several iterations of like furniture restoration, and people were in and out. It was kind of like this transient type business. But you would use it as a spot to just like, okay, I'm a little too drunk to drive home. I'm going
off. Yep, that's exactly it. And it's okay that you tell that, because I've actually got that worked into my little 3-minute speech when we have everybody together. They wanted me to have a speech.
Okay, great.
And so the other version of it is too that overhead door had an old remote control operator. And so if I was driving down Winchester Road, I could hit the button, and it would be open by the time I came around the corner.
Classy.
I could back in, close it back, and then feet out the door and, just sleep and have a good old day, because sometimes that happened at work, believe it or not. The bad part is that because it was such an old remote, it would get triggered by old airlines. It was on the same frequency. So when the perfect storm occurred of I'm in there, feet sticking out the pickup truck window, and then a plane crosses over right at that same path, the door would open, exposing me to all of National Avenue as I'm sleeping
it off.
Yeah. So I was in my 20s. It wasn't recently. And yeah, I made the same bad decisions that we all made in our 20s. So
Do you ever think about it though, whenever you're like having, happy hour at Epping's about
all
how
the time,
oh,
the entire neighborhood is nothing but kind of ripples in a pond of you drive by something, you go, oh, yeah, I remember something that happened there. I saw, but yeah, that's one of the comical ones for sure.
And I guess I didn't quite realize it really means like you grew up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you grew up in this area.
I was 14 or something when my father bought the first property. So yeah, it's second home.
So you've really seen it change and grow over the years. Yeah. So the 90s, it was starting this turnover. It was still industrial, automotive. And then it was really like, it was, if I remember correctly, in the 99 or 2000 is when you guys bought Epping's.
Mm-hmm.
So then things started to move, especially in the 2000s, right?
Yeah, but Epping started as a furniture restoration company.
Yeah.
So it was called, I think it was ASAP. And we went through the neighborhood with the fire marshal one time, and he kind of stopped. But they had paint booths inside that they just vented to the street. And quite literally, if somebody was smoking while they were painting, it would have blown up the whole block. So he kind of eyeballed it. And, that was 90s. They didn't really care as much as they do now. There was also, toward the end of the street, the mechanics that we didn't own the building yet, but they would do oil changes on the street and just pull the plug and let the oil go right into the sewer. And we're all paying that. That's why everybody's kids have three arms. And yeah, why not? It's fine.
Yeah. Oh man. So I mean, it is true. I mean, like sometimes when I talk about the warehouse block, people will be like, "Oh yeah, I bought a lot of drugs back in the warehouse block, like back in the day."
Yeah.
So it's like, where do you think that like shift really happened? Like, tell us about like businesses that had came. Was it slow? Was it? What do you think?
It was fairly slow and organic. It started with just a bunch of contractors and things like that. Then that was the first round, and then I guess the second round was when the gyms and things like that came in. And then we started doing a lot of things that weren't 100% permissible. The zoning didn't really allow it, but if you kind of tweak it a little bit, it kind of sort of did. So by the time that the adaptive reuse came down, other than the restaurants and the breweries, we were already doing most of the things in the adaptive reuse. And this made it all 100% above board and clean, and then allow the extra iteration of like, the restaurants and the coffee spots and things like that. So, yeah, it's just been really neat to watch. Go for that. The cars are much nicer than they used to be. It used to be a bunch of old beat up pickups, and now you see, Maseratis and Ferraris and stuff, which I like. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's just been kind of cool to stand back and watch.
Yeah, I bet. Especially since so you think like it was these businesses like gyms and places that people would come to and restaurants and the bars came later. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and of course it wasn't because we weren't allowed. It's B4 zone is one of the most restrictive zones. It's just not a really good zone. It's wholesale business, and that's a really old kind of categorization. And I don't think they really do it much anymore. And so under the adaptive reuse program, it allowed us to kind of get away with not having as much parking and regulate it ourselves. So like if somebody like Epping's came in, it used to be you'd have to have 250 parking spaces. Well, now they go, okay, fine, we don't care how many parking spaces you have, but we don't want any phone calls. Sounds good.
Yeah.
And so then we have to sort of manage it in a way that makes it where it's viable.
Is that what led you to be interested in getting more involved with? Forgive me, are you on the BOA or the BOAR?
BOA, Board of Adjustments.
Board of Adjustments. Mm-hmm. And what does that mean?
Oh Lordy, that means
explain it to me like I'm 5.
For $0, you get to get yelled at monthly. It's phenomenal. And you get to go in front of a room. Board of Adjustments is sort of the soft edge of zoning. So when somebody comes in and says, I want to build a 6-foot fence, and the zoning only says 5, but I have a special condition, the lot's crooked or it's too high or whatever it happens to be, then they can come in and plead their case to the Board of Adjustments. The Board of Adjustments is unique because it's quasi-judicial. So, and that's the only big word I know, by the way.
I was like, ooh,
yeah, quasi-judicial.
Ooh, wee.
So you're appointed by the mayor, you're confirmed by city council. They all get together and vote and say whether or not, this guy can do the job or this gal can do the job. Once they say yes, you're on your own. So any decision we make does not kick back to council for approval. If somebody doesn't like what we did, then it actually goes to court. So,
as in like a court of appeals type stuff?
No, so it actually goes to, I think it's circuit court.
I see.
So
meaning like almost like you guys get sued?
Well, yeah,
or like
there's
could.
Like yeah. So you can push it to them, say, did they do the right thing? It will be, I'm assuming, in the form of a lawsuit. But yeah, so that kind of puts the pressure on to kind of nose your P's and Q's a little bit. But
So is that what got you into being interested in being on the BOA, is because you dealt with zoning stuff for the warehouse block?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. And I
interesting.
started with, I was on Vacant Property Review Commission for 8 years. I did 2 terms, which is the max. And I served as chair for that for like 5 years. And that's really cool because it's just making sure that old properties that are empty and falling down and dilapidated are used, because Lexington has, crisis of housing just like everybody else does.
Absolutely.
So it mandates that you got to take care of your property basically, and you got to keep it up. And then Board of Adjustments is, there's been some really simple cases like that. There's other ones that are much more complicated and can last
I
all
want
day.
to hear a dramatic one. I want a really good one. You do not have to use the real names.
There's,
You don't
there's a
have
bunch. Yeah, there's a bunch.
to. Like, I don't know how much trouble I'm going to get you into.
There's a, I won't tell the attorney's name, but there was a case where there was attorney giving the appeal for his client and was going on, and this particular attorney had a habit of just going in a loop. Like, he would tell you what he's talking about, and then he would just repeat it, and he would do that 3 or 4 times. And I was new to the board, and I didn't know that there was certain decorums and you should be nice and things like that. I didn't know.
Oh, you're
And
like,
so-
shut up!
Yeah.
You've already said it.
Well, yeah, and so I ended up saying something to the effect of, insert name, this is the horse capital of the world, not the beat the dead horse capital of the world. And that didn't go over well at all. The attorney's kicking me under. They always set me next to the attorney. So
Yeah.
The city
For
attorney.
good
so,
reason.
Yeah. But it's a good group of people, and they're very knowledgeable. And there are times when it gets very contentious. And out of the gate, half the people are going to be mad, no matter what you decide. And when the
Well,
short term,
they're already mad showing up.
That's right. And we saw so many cases for like Airbnb, like short-term rentals, and that became the job of the board to approve each one of those for a long time. And it's just very difficult because you don't want to make your neighbors mad. At the same time, you have to uphold what the ordinance says.
I know.
So it's fun. You should join up. You'd be great.
Oh, I just love
You and
getting
Brent,
yelled
both of you
at.
hop on that one. That'd be a blast.
I left, being a teacher because I just, you know what? I'll do that because I miss getting yelled at so much.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of neighborhoods, though, I mean, the warehouse block and Kenwick and Belcourt and this, I mean, this area is starting to become like very, like, I don't know, symbiotic. Like they rely on each other now. And I mean, Kenwick property values
Insane.
are
It's crazy.
unbelievable. Like $500,000 for like, 2-bedroom, 2-bath kind of thing. So what is that just indicative of Lexington in general? Do you think that the warehouse block has something to do with the success of Kenwick?
I think a little of both. And
Yeah,
like
sure.
with Belcourt, it's always been massively sought after. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Totally.
And Mintel and Kenwick, back when were kind of working class neighborhoods.
They
I think
were.
they still are to a degree, but it's really become, to use your words, symbiotic, because it's what we do is we meet with all 3 neighborhoods as a group, usually 2 to 3 times a year, and just to kind of keep up with, what are we doing wrong? What are we doing right? What can we do better? What do you guys want to see? And that's rare to have that.
Totally.
In this neighborhood in general, we've got less buildings in the neighborhood than when we started all this. And so I joke that I'm really the worst developer because I'm going
Knocking
backwards.
them
Like,
down?
knock them down. We put in grass.
Building in parking lots.
Yeah. And so, but with that, there ends up being kind of a model that is duplicatable. Make up a word.
Oh, I knew what you meant.
So you've got buildings that are not tall buildings. They're just a couple stories at the most, that have nothing but local businesses. And then a lot of people live, work in the neighborhood. And it's just a really cool community. Like,
It is.
It's amazing that it's come this way full circle. Ours was sort of the last piece of the puzzle because Kenwick and Mintel were already, beautiful houses and stuff. It just happened to live next door to this dump. And so as we took on the dump and fixed it, they were very happy about that.
Yeah. Well, and it's just so walkable.
Yeah.
I mean, and unfortunately, that's a rarity in, the United States of America, but certainly Lexington too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll go visit my friends in Kenwick and they're like, we just walk here and it takes 2 seconds and then you have everything you need and then you go back and, have a last drink with them on their porch. And it's a really perfect setup.
It's been really nice for me because when we moved our office down here, I walk everywhere. I walk from my office from here to Blue Door and from here to Sav's and from here to go have a drink. So each day when I go have barbecue and ice cream, and liquor. I mean, look at me. I mean, it's done wonders.
Three
It's
main
absolutely
food
amazing.
groups.
That's right.
Mine too.
Call it the warehouse block weight loss program. It really is amazing. Just
Well, you just
follow
gotta
my lead.
join that walk club of living goods.
No, they go far.
I know. She keeps being like, Erica, can you please come to that walk club? And I'm like, and it's August. Like, there's no way. It's too hot.
When are they gonna have like an e-bike club or something?
Absolutely.
Like, I'd be down with that, or a scooter club.
Just
Like,
like
I'd
a
be
drinking club.
Yes. Yeah, we don't have to walk.
Pull our cars into Eppings like the old days.
My last name is a horrible misnomer. I'm not a walker.
Never thought about that.
Yeah, you know, switch it to legally to Chad Sitter
Chad Sitter. Chad Hangouter. I love it.
or drink bourboner.
Barbener.
Yeah.
So RT buys them up, and then but you know what's cool too is that there are still some original businesses that are not. I think that's a misconception.
Yeah.
Is that you guys own each and every one of these buildings? There's absolutely independent standalone buildings as well, which I think is really great because it keeps with the character of the history of it.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the businesses that still stand that are self-owned are ones that are of the old crafts that would have been back during those industrial days. You have automotive stuff and
Shelby and Willie at Morningside.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna be. I think their 40th is next year.
Incredible.
For the longest business in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So they're coming up on that. Kentucky Ballet Theater has been with us for decades. There's so many like Seasons Catering. He's been here for a bunch of years as well too. So I think Norbay rented from us in '96 or '97. That was like my third
Kentucky
lease.
Ballet. When we interviewed him, I was shocked.
Yeah,
I cannot believe you've been here this long. Yeah. And I was like, you haven't looked anywhere else? He's like, why would I? Like, I love it. So
The original guy that came and leased from us, his name was Xinjin Fu. And he would always go, what's that? Fu? And he'd go, yeah, Fu, F-U. Got it.
Perfect.
So that was always his thing. Like, Xinjin Fu, F-U.
love it. I want that last name.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
And because the tale of the Jan Foodie, her husband name was Ralph Foodie, and she was the Kentucky Ballet Theater's president for a bunch of years. She was absolutely vicious when it came to fundraising for her beloved ballet.
Amazing.
And her husband was Ralph Foodie, and Ralph was the guy in Home Alone.
The gangster.
That's right.
Yeah, the gangster in Home Alone. The movie
Keep the
with
change, you filthy animal.
That's right. Keep the change, you filthy animal.
And Jan was way more vicious than that character when it came to collecting money for the ballet. Jan was tough.
I always knew about Ralph Foodie. I didn't know about Jan Foodie.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah, that was a
incredible.
tie to the hood. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, speaking of celebrities, that we're getting off topic, but we'll get back to the warehouse. It's just like, relative. I like your stories about you knowing Ernest.
Oh yeah.
Jim Varney.
Yeah.
Who is a unequivocal local legend.
Yep.
Jim Varney, who was in all the Ernest movies, grew up in Lexington, went to Lafayette, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
And then got his start at the Pioneer Playhouse in Danville, and he was known for, which I think a lot of people don't realize this. He was, even though he played this like dunce, he was an incredibly smart person and could memorize like Shakespearean, long plays within just like a day or two. Like he had an insane memory, which I always thought was really cool because obviously like you wouldn't have expected that of him, but you actually like hung with him a little bit too, right? Or he came by
just for a bit.
something.
Yeah, I was a bartender at the old A1A, and so you ought to go back and watch an old episode of Roseanne that he was in, because he was a true thespian, had a beautiful voice, had this like deep cutting voice. It was lifelong smoker, which that's what ended up getting him.
You're right.
But yeah, I was a bartender there, and he showed up, and it was a slow night. It was like a Tuesday or Wednesday or something. He had just brought a brand new car. It was a Mitsubishi VR4. And he was a big fan of James Bond. Like he had 007 written on the back of a bunch of his watches and things. And so he was telling me about it. Like, yeah, it's got this wing that flaps and this and that. And so we just sat and shot the breeze until a couple girls came in, and then I was dog meat. It's like, go stand over there, bartender. So
he told me he was wearing like a lot of turquoise rings.
A lot of turquoise rings.
A lot of
kind
turquoise
of
rings.
like Native American jewelry type stuff.
Love
He
it.
was, and he just had this aura or something about him.
Swagger. Yeah.
Really cool guy. Really cool.
That's so great.
I don't remember if he was a good tipper or not, but I'm going to assume he was.
Yeah, well, we're gonna say he is.
Yeah, hell of a good tipper.
Absolutely. Well, if he's into James Bond, I feel
Yeah.
like James Bond would be a good tipper too. And he just spent all that money on a car.
He was.
He's got the money.
But he just sat at the end of the bar, just kind of hanging. It was like me and him. And was that Jim Varney down there? Like, oh,
Were the
this
girls cute? Were they like? And how receptive were they to him?
is very. Very.
They're like, Ernest.
Yeah. I was upset because I was younger and I was the bartender, but yeah.
You were supposed to be the cute one.
You don't hold a candle to Jim Varney. Absolutely not. I
Heck
do
no. Wait, where was this? A1 what?
the old A1A. So there used to be kind of like where, oh gosh, what's the place across from Carson's? East End Tap and Table.
Yeah.
That used to be this bar that had a sand volleyball court, and I used to coach and play volleyball.
What?
And then next to it was just nothing but a huge parking lot. And on the weekend, it had probably 6 different bars inside. So they had like the club bar in one spot. Then you would go farther and they would have the live music bar. You would loop back around and go out to the sand court and watch volleyball. There's a bar there. You had the sports bar that usually had like a little small stage of performance.
Something
and then
for
upstairs
everyone.
bars. Yeah. They had everything.
So you bartended in one of those?
I think I bartended in all of those. Yeah. At some point.
Were you a good bartender?
No.
Did you drink more than you served?
There was one of the guys that was the manager there for a spell. His whole thing was, if you're not having a good time, the customer's not having a good time. So if you over pour a beverage and, there's just a little bit, go ahead, because by the end of the night, all the bartenders are wildly drunk. Half the bar is just free for all to everybody. So yeah, of course, I never did that.
That sounds like the good old days. I've never been around.
It was the days of Lexington when they would do like bladder buster contests. So they would say, okay, drinks are only like $1 each as long as no one goes to the bathroom. So they would have someone standing there at the boys and the girls bathroom. And that that made a lot of people find plants and go out on the street and all kinds of
why?
things.
What's the purpose? Why can't you
There's
pee?
no purpose at all.
It's just like to be funny?
Yeah, so it was cheap as long as nobody went to the bathroom. And then as soon as you went to the bathroom, well, drinks are regular price. So it would go on 3 and 4 hours of people getting blind drunk and just, this is the best party ever. Like, walking around. It was insane.
Unbelievable. I've never heard of this concept ever.
They would have pictures of blank and blank drinks. So they would give you a picture of Jack and Coke or CC and, soda or whatever. And yeah, they would sell pictures of liquor. It was a wild place. It was something else.
Yeah. I even, going to Charlie Brown's and they'll do stuff in liters and I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. But this kind of takes the cake.
Yeah. Well, and back in those days when I played volleyball, we would go down there and play. And then, most of us didn't get paid till Friday. So Thursday they had a deal where I think it was $20. You got 2 pitchers of beer and 50 wings for like $20. Sounds good. Well, what you do is go eat the wings and drink the beer and leave. Then when you got paid on Friday, you come back and pay off your tab.
Oh, you could put it on your tab.
No, you couldn't. But we did.
I see.
So there was about 20 people every Thursday that would all gather up and then be like, well, I'm out of here. And we would as a group run out on our tab. And then when we got paid on Friday, you come back and settle up. And it became a tradition.
Amazing. And they would be okay with this or look forward to
No, they were not. And they started putting people by the door. And so then we found alternate ways, i.e. jumping over the fence by the upper parking lot, or one person would distract. Like, I think there's a fire upstairs, and then everybody run out. It was cowboy days of good old Lexington.
Incredible. This should have, I feel I'm inspired, like a book coming on, or at least can we get back to at least a little bit more of those glory days here in Lexington?
Well, they get really upset now with even with just buy one drink and get a second for free and things like that. Or the, I think ladies night used to be, and I don't know that they do that much anymore either.
No, I don't think they do.
Any type of discount is like ABC's not happy with. And, truth be told, that probably should happen because this happens otherwise. So it's there's
cautionary tale.
That's right. Yeah. I'll sit at the end of the bar and you're drinking with your future down here. So see what happens.
Do you want to be this?
Yeah, please stop now.
Okay, so I guess we can go back to the warehouse block now.
Okay.
Although I want to hear more of your drinking stories, and I
we've got
want to
plenty of
know
those.
about them off camera as well, because I feel like there's some really good ones.
Yeah.
What about the warehouse block? So in regards to, we're now in the 2000s, I feel like even just the past 5-6 years, it's really boomed in terms of, for example, when that Willow spot became available, you had people knocking on, down your door to try and get into that spot. And, the Willow got it. And thank goodness for that, because they're fabulous.
Awesome. Yeah.
Wonderful establishment and really bring a lot to the neighborhood, I think. But it's competitive now.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to get in here as a business.
It is, and it's kind of unintentionally. I mean, it used to be we'd be begging people to come in here because they knew nobody ever went down National Avenue except to go to Christmas Cleaner, and that's where you got your wedding dress, like put in a bag for your daughter one day or whatever. And that's, I mean, I gave directions to everybody coming up the street to Christmas Cleaner, and after that time went where we didn't have to beg anymore, and it was actually fixed up, and people liked it. Then we started really curating. Like, are these people going to get along with the neighborhood? Do they understand what's going on? Things like that. And so for like the Willow, it's such a funky spot where it used to be a loading dock. Like it's an interior loading dock that you back up. And if you tried to go back and build that, it'd be the dumbest, creation
Concept ever. Yeah.
But because, Avina and Aaron did the like upper level for like an event, it really turned out cool. And it was really creative. And they've done an amazing job with it. Like everybody loves going to that spot. And to think that it used to be a loading dock where semis would drip oil and it was disgusting, and now it's like this beautiful flowered little heaven. It's just
just like wine and plants. Yeah.
Well, it really makes it an easy transition for me to go in and have a glass of wine. And of course well, I got a manly, I'll get it.
That's right.
And within 30 seconds, you're like, this is fabulous. Like, I love this place. I love it so much. It's wonderful, and that's part of the reason I have plants in my office now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, they've inspired
That's
you.
right.
They're
Yep.
rubbing off.
Yep.
I like that. It is good. I mean, in regards to the neighborhood too, I mean, there's such a good variety of businesses.
Yeah.
So it's not all, I feel like, the distillery district is really cool in its own way too, but like you're going there, you're either eating or drinking,
Yeah.
Here it's like, it's lifestyle. So you of course you can eat and drink, but you've got gyms, you've got shops, you've got bakeries, there's really something for like not just everyone, but for everyone's different parts of their life that they might need. So
many people do that. They walk in like, I didn't realize this was here. We hear that all the time. It should be on our business card. Well, I didn't realize this was here, because people will come for Mere Twin and then discover Eppings, or they'll come for Eppings and discover Savs. But yeah, it's a neat spot.
it is very well done for sure. So what's next? What's the future of the warehouse block?
I'm kind of going into this place as a old man of wanting to preserve and kind of keep it the way it is, not let it get absorbed by great big development, and just kind of keep that nice vibe between the neighborhoods. So that's what I'm focused on, and just letting the dust settle. It's been a bunch of years of continual growth and development, and it's nice to just sit back and go
Enjoy it.
well, yeah, like I've never been to breakout games. I'd love to do that.
What? Let's do a breakout game.
No, because and there's a reason. Okay, that was the nice part. I was supposed to say that on camera.
Yeah.
The bad part is they know me, so I'm afraid I'll get into a game and they'll just lock me to a wall or something and go, "Yeah, have fun," and then they
Or make
come,
it like extra hard.
Yes, yeah. It'd be easy. It'd be hard for me anyway. Those things. But there's lots of things I haven't even gotten to do, and I kind of want to do that.
I know.
So that'll be next.
You'll have tons of time for sure.
Oh.
Thank you for letting me do our fabulous 40th anniversary.
Very cool. I always have fun. Yeah.
For sure.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.